Hello, Insomniacs. I'm Kurious Cyclopes.
And I'm Steve.
And we are Never Sleep Again TV. Welcome back for another episode. Today I'm just going to do a little casual chat about foreign horror. To be honest, there was a time when I was a kid where I saw all the slashers like, Freddy, Michael, Jason, and I was so ignorant back then. After I conquered all those movies, I was like, oh man, there's not going to be much else left to watch. And for some reason, it didn't occur to me to watch foreign horror films growing up.
Right.
Just because, I would think like, oh no, that's going to be stupid. America has the best horror films. We're the best. We're number one. Well, guess what? I was totally wrong. And I'm specifically going to talk about Hammer because that's something I should have started ages ago, especially because I do love the Universal monsters so much. So, of course, I got some Hammer DVDs to show you now. So Hammer, as you know, it's like the British Universal, and they had their own remakes of, the Universal monsters. The first time I actually saw one of these movies, on cable last year around Halloween, they were showing the Curse of Frankenstein. And to be honest, obviously, since I was familiar with the title and all that, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. I got sucked in right away to that world. The Frankenstein's monster looks fucking incredible in this movie. So that really inspired me to look into Hammer, which would be my first venture into British horror.
Yeah.
So as well as Curse of Frankenstein, I also had to find a copy of Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. And apparently the true villain in the Frankenstein Hammer films is Frankenstein himself.
Oh, yeah?
Not the monster, because he does some pretty wicked shit throughout the series. So I also had to pick up this DVD compilation of Hammer films because it has The Revenge of Frankenstein. A lot of these things, you can't just get the movies individually. You have to get a big compilation. So, of course, I had to get that whole set. And you know what? At least it has other films on it. It has like Creatures, The World Forgot, Maniac, Die, Die, My Darling. To be honest, I haven't seen any of the monster Hammer films, so I'm gonna have some interesting stuff to watch there. All right, now my absolute favorite so far, and I'm talking about favorite because he's not even my favorite Universal monster, but you know what? Horror of Dracula. Holy shit! Not only is this like an awesome, essentially kind of remake, retelling of Dracula, but you know what? Christopher Lee is just as fucking good as Bela Lugosi. I mean, Horror of Dracula, I had no idea. I just saw this, last year, but there's pretty good amount of gore. It's really, really violent, especially Dracula's death himself. Like, he just disintegrates at the end. And,
oh, wow.
I probably would have got to Hammer horror films sooner if I knew how fucking nasty they did get. Like, they do not shy away from the blood and the violence. So, of course, then I had to get Tasty Blood of Dracula and Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. And I also saw Taste the Blood of Dracula. Fucking loved it. Awesome sets. The beginning is really incredible. And I actually still haven't watched Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. Besides those, I actually haven't watched The Mummy yet. But I heard the Mummy movies are really, really, really good from Hammer. So, of course, I had to get another Hammer compilation because it has The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. So, for British horror, I definitely gotta say I wish I started with Hammer a lot sooner than I did. But I am happy that now I have a whole new way to enjoy the classic monsters.
Yeah.
So I am glad to have that.
And hey, at least you started, man. Like, I'm sitting here. This is like a learning experience for me. I'm taking notes, going, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch this.
What? A lot of the time, some horror fans will be like, how are you a true horror fan? You didn't see this, didn't see that. Do you know what, guys? Let's just say this. I own over 400 horror movies. I've watched less than half of them. Do you know why? Because obviously there's so many goddamn horror movies out there, all in the ethos.
Right.
We cannot possibly watch every single one that you guys suggested. So I understand there's some essentials I still need to see, but dude, my backlog is so backed up. And do you know what a true fact about me is? I collect horror films quicker than I watch them.
Yeah.
And part of that is because having a full-time job sucks. And if I, if I do get that part-time job I'm hoping for to make more time for this, then I'll also have more time to watch horror films.
Right.
Which means we can get to reviewing more, because you actually have to watch to review. So.
And then we can get to buying more, because
Yes,
it's like investing.
Yes, exactly. We'll be investing in our careers. And if any of my old bosses are watching this, fuck you! I'm doing it! I'm following my dream, losers. Okay. I did talk about this in one of our other videos. So, Coffin Joe, I do own At Midnight I'll Take Her Soul. So Coffin Joe, he's very, very popular in Brazil. He's kind of like the Brazilian boogeyman. He's their universal iconic monster, essentially. So Coffin Joe, I definitely gotta get the whole freaking box set, because it's pretty much just about a really wicked dude that's trying to find the perfect woman to put his seed into for someone to carry on his legacy. And it's funny because he is a really evil character, yet he loves children because they're innocent and blah blah blah. So Coffin Joe's definitely very interesting.
Huh.
So, and to be honest, that's the only Brazilian horror films I know about. So, if you know more Brazilian horror films, feel free to let me know. All I know about is Coffin Joe.
Yeah, dude.
Right. Also, something I want to say. It took me a shameful amount of time to truly get started with Italian horror. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly, but Lucio Fulci, I think that sounds right. I think I called him Lucio Fulci before, but that's all right. So you know what? Obviously, Lucio Fulci, he was known for creating unofficial sequels to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead in Across the Seas was called Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, Lucio Fulci took it upon himself to make the sequels to Zombie, unofficial sequels. So yeah, Zombie over there was Dawn of the Dead. So in America, our Zombie is actually Zombie 2. It gets a little confusing for people.
Bit.
And you know what? I actually still need to buy Zombie, but I'm off to a good start because I have Zombie 3. I have Zombie 4. And I have Zombie 5. I was told the later sequels weren't that good, but I know Zombie and Zombie 3 are absolutely essential for your Italian collection. And like I said, I just got started a bit ago, so I'm really excited to have that. But something I fucking absolutely adored. I cannot believe I waited so long to see this. I got you started with the Gates of Hell trilogy by Lucio Fulci. I got you City of the Living Dead. So, I gotta say, I saw City of the Living Dead for the first time at Zombie Fest number 2 at the Mahoning Drive-In last year. And it legit creeped me out.
Yeah.
Come on. I grew up really religious, so, the fact that the movie opens up with the priest suiciding, opening up a gateway to hell as an after effect, and those zombies, like, dude, City of the Living Dead, it's fucking creepy. And that fucking phantom priest that goes around making people bleed out their eyes and puking up their guts. Wow. Genuinely creepy. And I gotta say, I love the whole entire Gates of Hell trilogy. Luckily enough, I did find the other 2 of the trilogy at the same FYE. Because, I love going to the used section. I always find goodies, so. Funnily enough, I heard about the Beyond for ages, which is the second entry. Unknowingly, for a couple bucks, I bought 7 Doors of Death, not realizing that's the alternate title to The Beyond. There was actually a shorter cut, I guess, of the movie, which is called 7 Doors of Death. Ironically enough, this is the full feature-length The Beyond, so I guess people aren't really sure why they decided to call it 7 Doors of Death when, nothing is like censored or taken out from there, so beats me. So I do own The Beyond, 7 Doors of Death. The one I actually just watched for the first time a few weeks ago, House by the Cemetery. Oh my god. Incredible movie. Creepy. Had me on the edge of my goddamn seat. And on top of that, the soundtrack is so good, sometimes I'll be bumping the fucking theme in my car when I'm driving around. Because you know what? Italian horror songs, wow, they are awesome to just nod out to and frickin' get creeped out, because you know what? It actually gives me a creepy feeling. I'm not sure what it is about those Italian horror movie music, but definitely creepy.
Get those
I got another Lucio Fulci one on me. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it was pretty good. So I did pick up Demonia. I think that's how you say it. But I pretty much looked at the front and the back, and I was like, okay, there's some wicked nuns. It looks like nuns is like a whole subgenre of horror that I didn't even get into. So gotta say that's pretty cool. All right, now we're gonna move on to Dario Argento. He is most known for the Three Mothers trilogy, that being Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears, which is about, each movie's about one of the three sisters that were wicked witches. They live in different parts of the world, and they rule the world from their humble abodes. So, you know what? Unfortunately, I just realized I thought I owned Suspiria. I don't. That is a huge no-no. I will be buying Suspiria on Blu-ray since I don't own it on DVD. So it's nice I don't have to rebuy it.
I believe they're still working on a restoration Blu-ray for it now.
Are you serious?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, then maybe I will wait, because they did release a nice-looking edition of it. But, yeah, if they're doing a whole freaking
I forget what company is doing it, but I know somebody is supposed to be in charge of doing a 4K restoration of it.
See, this guy helps me out, because you just saved me from triple buying, even though I didn't even have it on DVD. So, all right. But the one I do own from the trilogy, because I don't even have Inferno. I actually just watched that for the first time a couple weeks ago. But Mother of Tears was freaking awesome. So, 2007, it's the last of the three sisters. You know what? Speaking of modern horror films, obviously this is pretty kind of new.
Yeah.
It's only 10 years old, which is new to old people like us who are 26. But Mother of Tears was freaking awesome. You know what? Witch movies in general are awesome. And each of the witches in the three films, they're genuinely creepy. And you know what? You don't get witches often in horror films. So it's always a treat when you do. And goddamn, Dario Argento definitely got to be his three freaking masterpieces. All right, and I got another Dario Argento. You know what? I fucking love this to death. Cannot believe no one recommended it to me. It is called The Church. First of all, the fact that it's in a church creeps me out alone.
Yeah.
Because, I grew up, in a really strict, church setting. So it kind of creeped me out having all this crazy shit going on in church. Like demons going everywhere, and there's even like a aqua demon that comes out of the holy water thing and attacks this guy.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Everyone, please go see The Church. It is fucking crazy. It's a crazy ride. Apparently, I believe it was supposed to be Demons 3, because, there's a series called Demons, but, I guess they decided that, they didn't want to necessarily make it an entry, so they changed the title to The Church.
Huh.
But, you know what? I actually have to see the other Demons movies, but The Church is incredible. There is one really bizarre scene with... goddamn the edgy stuff, goddamn it. Edge alert, edge alert. There is a really weird scene between these two younger boys, and I don't know what it is with these Italian films I'm watching lately, but, there's always some really weird, questionable sexual content, whether it be incest or just something else, but...
Is there really?
There's something very bizarre that happens in here, and I don't want to get into it. Watch it yourself. It's nothing, like, shocking or disturbing, but it's just kind of like, what the fuck? I'm surprised they decided to put that in there.
Yeah.
Like I said, Italian, I'm not sure if it's the culture, but they seem to not be so shy to, like, talk about taboo subjects like America is. So, okay, I gotta say, Dario Argento is another great Italian director. So, next, this is one of the first foreign horror films I remember ever seeing. I was actually in, I think I was a freshman in high school. Japanese horror. It is kind of modern. It's not like a really old movie, but everyone, please see this. I guess it's from 2002, but it is called Suicide Club. If you haven't seen it, you at least probably saw a GIF of it, because it was going around the internet a few years ago, because there's this infamous scene where everyone's holding hands and then they jump right in front of a moving train and there's just blood everywhere. It flies all over the place. But you know what? Suicide Club, it's incredible. It's an incredible story. It's almost like a commentary on the lack of communication between the older generation and the younger generation in Japan. So Suicide Club is really freaking awesome. There's even a crazy soundtrack to the movie because there's actually this girl group in it called Dessert, and they have all these Japanese pop songs, and they're really famous. Everyone likes them. Well, it turns out there's something a little bit more sinister to that girl group of singers. So you know what? I really, really highly recommend Suicide Club. Not only do I love the film itself, but I do have the soundtrack on my phone.
Oh yeah.
And it's very nice to bump to. So I got another one. You know what's funny? The first time I bought this, I accidentally apparently got a Region 3 DVD.
Oh, wow.
Which I can't even use. So, hey, if we have any viewers from Region 3, wherever the hell that is, China, I think?
I have no idea.
Well, if we have any Chinese viewers, you know what? You can have this copy of the Audition, okay? Because recently I did get a 2-disc collector's edition of Audition. And to be honest, I actually haven't seen this whole thing in its entirety. I've seen clips when I looked up, most shocking films.
Right.
And I know what it's about. I just have such a big backlog. I can't watch every single movie I own.
Yeah.
But everyone recommends this, so I might as well recommend it to you. And it is in my collection for a reason. So I gotta say, I got one from Sweden. I don't know how many Swedish horror films I've seen, but this one is friggin' incredible. Let the Right One In. The first time I saw this, I actually saw the remake, not realizing it was a remake. I saw it in, Carmike Theater.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was really cool, but you know what? After I realized there was an original, and I found it a few years ago, I watched the original. Original, of course, 10 times better.
That's what I hear.
Absolutely 10 times better. In fact, it kind of made me go, how the hell did I like the remake compared to this one? So Swedish horror. I don't know much about Swedish horror, but Let the Right One In. And you know what? It's not even necessarily a straight-up horror film. It's more of like a fucking love story.
Yeah.
Normally a love story would turn me off, but it's the perfect combination of horror and love story that you pretty much don't ever see attempted.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, that's a fucking really awesome film. I'm glad I own it. Alright, now I gotta reach down to grab this last goodie for you. Oh no! Steve, keep them entertained. I gotta go grab it.
Oh god, vamp.
Vape.
I guess I haven't been talking a whole lot this episode. I'm not super familiar with a lot of foreign horror movies. Most of the foreign stuff I've seen has been like shock movies, but that's about all.
I mean, are there any foreign horror films that you did see that you can recall?
I mean, not aside from, the movie that you got me.
Okay, yeah, City of the Living Dead.
I believe I watched Audition back in the day, but it's been so fucking long
Yeah.
now that I couldn't remember a single thing about it. But nothing normal, I don't think. Everything that I've seen foreign has been just weird.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, in some Italian films, I do notice there's some sometimes uncomfortable scenes. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing where American audiences just feel uncomfortable seeing it and Italians are used to it. I don't know, because I'm not Italian, but I am going to move on to the next one. All right, just like Swedish horror, I don't know much about Spanish horror, but what I do know is friggin' incredible. So freaking glad I own this. Oh my god. Here we go. Beautiful. The Blind Dead Collection. You know what's funny? It actually kind of looks similar to the Coffin Joe collection because that also comes in a casket. But the Blind Dead Collection, beautiful set. Comes with Tombs of the Blind Dead, Return of the Evil Dead, The Ghost Galleon, which is actually the reason why The Fog was made. John Carpenter's The Fog, it was directly inspired from the third entry, The Ghost Galleon. And lastly, Night of the Seagulls. Now, The Blind Dead, it actually follows pretty much undead Templar Knights. And one reason why that excites me so much is growing up in my teens, I loved studying about, the Templar Knights and its relation to Freemasonry and all that. Because, I kind of like that conspiracy stuff on the side. So, of course, when I heard there was like a Templar horror series, I was like, fuck yeah.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about this set is they don't skimp out on the cases. They honestly give you actual beautiful cases. So, you know what? You always got to appreciate when they do that. So, I will show you those. Here we go. And you know what? These are truly artistic films. So not only is it almost like a new zombie, like these eyeless Templar zombies, but there's some really crazy scenes where there's some slow motion and it's just really trippy, but you can definitely get a taste of the Spanish style by watching these.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, I'm very, very glad that I do own this. And you know what? I really don't know any other Spanish horror films, so just like with the Swedish ones, if you know any other Spanish horror films, please let me know, because I'd love to see more. I just don't know any that are supposed to be really, really recommended, so I would love for you to recommend that to me. And you know what? For my personal foreign horror collection, that is about it. So, what do you think? Anything stick out to you that you find interesting?
I feel like the two biggest things that jump out in my mind is, like, first of all, I have a lot of fucking movies to watch, apparently.
Yes.
But
our backlog is scary.
second of all, like, seeing a bunch of the stuff that you have in your collection throughout the day and stuff, I'm really starting to learn that apparently back in the day they had a real appreciation for the fans making DVD that seems like it's going by the wayside when it comes to Blu-ray. Like, all these
It's
beautiful
true.
cases and boxes and all the stuff.
What's one of the most disappointing things to me, speaking of Blu-ray, when I first got introduced to Blu-ray, I was surprised that there aren't any extravagant box sets like this.
Right.
Like, why did DVD get all the love? Especially if you compared the Nightmare on Elm Street DVDs to the Blu-ray ones. Total night and day.
Right.
But,
even you mentioned Coffin Joe and
oh yes, I need that. I need more Brazilian horror, so I might as well get the box set.
yeah, and the box set that you talk about coming in, like the coffin
The
case
coffin
and stuff.
case and comics and all that.
I had never heard of Coffin Joe until it came across my radar on Amazon that a new trilogy had come out, but it's just a little case like this with 3 movies in it. That's all.
Speaking of Coffin Joe, I do find that more older horror fans that I speak to are aware of it, because they are pretty old.
Right.
Even though the last one was a more recent entry, I believe in the 2000s, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But a lot of the older guys that I know that did see Coffin Joe, they actually love Coffin Joe. So I'm gonna have to get the whole box set and watch the whole thing. And you know what? I might as well do a franchise review.
Yeah.
But again, that's it for foreign horror. And for a lot of you veterans, you can probably see that this is still noob status when it comes to foreign horror. I still got a lot more to learn. But like I said, there's so many movies out there, you can never know it all.
Right.
So, of course, we're going to depend on our viewers to educate us about the rest.
Yep.
But for now, that's going to be it. I guess Never Sleep Again TV is out for this episode. We will see you in the next one. Subscribe, comment, and thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.